What is up, guys? Welcome back to AKS Golf, bringing you another super exciting video today. If you're new here, first of all, welcome. My name is Aaron. I am a professional club fitter, so I have the privilege of working with some of the best companies in golf on a day-to-day basis. Today, we're talking about the most underrated clubs and balls of the year, the stuff that doesn't get talked about enough, doesn't get the hype, but it actually performs. I'll be breaking this video down into 6 sections: driver, woods and hybrids, irons, wedges, putters, and golf ball. I'll have 2 picks for each category except for the irons. In that one, I will have 3, one for low handicaps, one for mid handicaps, and one for your higher handicappers. Make sure y'all are hitting that subscribe button for more content like this, and be sure to let me know what clubs you think are the most underrated in today's game. Quick disclaimer, these are the most underrated clubs in golf, not the best. So the P790 from TaylorMade would be a great example. It's a great iron, but it's one of the most talked about and one of the most hyped up irons in the game of golf. So for this list, it's not gonna make the cut. With that being said, let's get right into it, starting with driver. Here we go. So driver number 1 of the most underrated drivers of 2025, we have the Cobra DS Adapt Max K. So I was a little skeptical of Cobra's new driver lineup with their Future Fit 33 technology. It has 33 different neck settings, allowing the driver to really be set up for any unique swing. And I wasn't really sure if it was just a gimmick from Cobra, trying to be unique just for the sake of being unique, but after hundreds of fittings, not just for myself, but for my coworkers as well, we've all kind of determined that the Future Fit 33 technology from Cobra works. It sets up great for any player, and if your swing changes a lot, the driver can change with you. And not only does the adjustability work wonders, but the driver itself is also one of the more forgiving and low spinning in the game. So the driver really has everything that you could possibly want. So driver number 2 is gonna be the GT2 from Titleist. Now, Titleist isn't probably a brand you think of when you think underrated, but I haven't heard enough talk about the GT2 for just how good of a driver it is. Now, there is a GT1 head as well that technically is the most forgiving, but the GT2 is gonna be the more forgiving head that the high majority of players are gonna actually be playing. And usually the extra forgiveness is gonna mean lower ball speeds and it's gonna spin more, but that has not been the case for the GT2. It's just as fast as any driver on the market, including the low spin, bomber driver head models out there from other companies. And you pair that with the added extra forgiveness, and the GT2 is, a bomber's dream. Or if you've lost distance over the years or just lost ball speed in general over the years, maybe you're getting a little bit older, the GT2 is gonna be a great option for you as well, because it's gonna give you that ball speed back, but you're also not gonna lose all the forgiveness of the more forgiving drivers. Now, moving on to the woods and hybrids, and they are their own kind of separate realm. I think the best way to go about finding a wood or a hybrid for you is to test as many models as you can get your hands on, even if they are older models from years prior. There are a couple models from this year though that still fly under the radar. And for me, those are the Ping G440s and again, the Cobra DS Adapts. For Cobra, it's the same reason as the drivers, but for Ping, it's the way that they sit. They sit a little bit more flush or square on the ground compared to some other woods and hybrids that you'll see on the market that sit a little bit more rounded at the bottom. And that's really been a game changer for consistent contact, especially with those players that maybe struggle to hit their woods or their hybrids off the deck. That flush bottom edge really helps them get that ball in the air. And are we really shocked that Ping makes a more forgiving club than other companies? No, we shouldn't be. They're the kings of forgiveness. They've been forgiveness oriented for years now, and the G440 woods and hybrids are no different. Now, moving into irons, we're gonna start with the most underrated irons for higher handicappers. And for me, there is no other option than the Mizuno Hot Metal line. These are probably the best feeling irons in the game improvement category, and they're also gonna offer a little bit more spin than you might find in other more forgiving iron head styles. Now, Mizuno irons are some of the more talked about irons out there, but I feel like most of the time it's their more player's design or forged irons that get talked about more than their more forgiving heads. The game improvement irons don't get enough shine, so they made their way onto the list today. Now, moving on to the mid handicap pick, that's gonna be the Srixon ZXi 5. Maybe the most underrated brand in all of golf, Srixon irons have a V-sole, which is a unique way of constructing the sole that leads to some of the best turf interaction that you can find. They feel great as well, which is always gonna be something that you're hoping for in an iron, but it's especially nice if you can find a really good feeling player's distance iron, and for me, the ZXi 5s feel the best of any of them. Now, moving on to the low handicap pick, it's gonna be the TaylorMade P7 CBs. Obviously, TaylorMade is one of the most popular brands and iron brands specifically in the world, but I still feel like the P790s and the P770s get a lot more shine than the P7 CBs do. And the CBs are on the same level as those other two, and in my opinion, they feel a lot better. Now, the CBs are gonna be geared more towards the better ball striker than somebody in a P790, but you would actually be surprised with how much forgiveness the CBs offer. They also frame the ball super nicely at address, and like I said before, they're one of the best feeling irons in the game of golf, so for me, it was an easy pick. Next category is gonna be wedges, and pick number 1 is gonna be the Ping S159s. Now, wedges are a very personal club, so whichever one suits your eye best and is gonna give you the most confidence to play your best golf, those are the ones that you should get. But for me, the Ping S159s are one of the most underappreciated clubs in the game of golf. The tighter space grooves on the face look awesome to me behind the ball, and they also are one of the better feeling wedges on the market. Now, if you're not looking for a traditional blade style wedge, my second pick for wedges would be the CBX4 from Cleveland. Now, this cavity-backed wedge is a great option. It's gonna have a wider sole, so those chunk shots that, normally with the blade style, you would chunk, a couple feet in front of you, they're still gonna get up in the air a little bit, and they're gonna get a lot closer to your target than you would with a traditional blade style wedge. So if you struggle, especially on, longer pitch shots or full shots with wedges, I would definitely check out the CBX4s. Now, I know I said I'm doing 2 picks per category, and we're moving on to putters now, but for me, there's really only one pick here, and that is the TP Reserve and TP putters from TaylorMade. And for me, they are bar none the most underrated line of putters in the world. If you want a blade style putter, the TP Black Juno is, for me, by far the most underrated that you can find. Instead of that $400 to $500 price tag of a new Scotty or a new Bettinardi, the TP line comes in at $199.99 and still gives you that feel of a premium putter. Then in the TP Reserve line, you have their classic designs like the B11 or the M33, and they also look and feel absolutely incredible. So for me, you won't find a better bargain in the land of putters than these bad boys from TaylorMade. And finally, the last category of today is gonna be the golf ball. And in today's world, I don't think that there are too many golf balls that I would say are bad, but there are a few that I feel don't get enough shine. Starting with the Bridgestone Tour B Series. Whether you swing fast or slow, there's a ball in this lineup for you, and when I've used them, they've all performed really well. Specifically, the Tour B XS, which is gonna be the blue ball. It's their spinnier ball for higher swing speeds. It really grabs and checks on the touchier pitches and chips around the green, which I like. And then there's also Tiger's ball, which is gonna be the Tour BX, which is gonna be the longer ball, lower spin, and it's just gonna go a little bit farther off the tee. The other lineup of balls that I'd say doesn't get talked about enough is the Z-Star lineup from Srixon. Now, I played the Z-Star XV for most of last year, and it really was incredible. I felt that it had the length or close to the length of the Pro V1X left dash from Titleist without feeling like a rock. It really was the best of both worlds, and the Z-Star and the Diamond variations also perform really well. So if you want an overall great, down the middle, premium golf ball, try the Z-Star the next time you buy a dozen. So the last thing I'll leave you with is that these are just personally the most underrated clubs and balls that I see at the shop that I work at. It might be completely different where you are, but for me, these are the clubs and balls that I see get underrated most often. But let me know, do you agree or disagree with my picks? I appreciate you guys sticking around. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button because I have a ton of exciting content coming up for you guys. And to give you all a hint, I will flash a couple logos on the screen while I'm talking. You won't want to miss that. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, peace out.